Okay, let's go.
Okay, welcome back to American Rants Unredacted episode. Hold on, episode 34. Got it written down. Anyways, a lot's been going on when it comes to the United States and Iran. And there was another warning about attacking their nuclear power plants and stuff like that. And they were basically attacking the United States power grid. So I pulled a couple clips here about kind of like grid down scenarios and what people are thinking of what might happen if there's a grid down, or what they think about the whole situation going on right now. So let's go through these clips. We'll make some comments, maybe speculate about what's going on or what to do. And yeah, we'll try and have a little bit of fun with it. So as you can see, I found this article from the 8th. NERC is actively monitoring the grid following Iran-linked cyber threat. Hackers have disrupted critical U.S. infrastructure by targeting programmable logic controllers. Cybersecurity infrastructure security agency warned. Now I don't know, like, how good of a hacker they are, but the first thing that I ever heard was there was like 7 states and their water supply, their program was being hacked. And then all of a sudden it was like 12 states when it referred to the power grid. So maybe some of these videos will kind of clear up what's going on. Maybe not. I don't know. But let's just continue. Let's see what we got.
Developing news coming out. We're hearing that the U.S. power grid is likely going to be targeted in attacks here in the United States by Iran. Now, this comes as we are hearing that 7 states now have been confirmed for being hit with cyber attacks on water supply systems. And we're hearing this is likely Iran as well. And we have now received confirmation on 2 of those states, and who they are as the FBI is trickling out information as to who it was that was hit in these attacks. Let's go and take a look at the latest headlines coming out today so that way you can see it for yourself. August 1st, 2026, as Trump weighs Iran strikes, Tehran vows to target U.S. energy assets and Israeli infrastructure. In addition to that, coming out in the last 24 hours, Iranian lawmakers are threatening the U.S. power grid if Iran is attacked. And as I mentioned, this comes as water systems in 7 states in the U.S. were hit with cyber attacks confirmed by the FBI. And Iranian hackers are suspected in these cyber attacks on U.S. water systems. Now, when this first initially came out, we had heard confirmation that Minnesota and Wisconsin were 2 of the 7 states. It has now been confirmed today that in addition to that, Michigan and Georgia are 2 other states. Now, we're waiting to get confirmation on the other 3 that we've heard initially have been hit in this 7-state attack. However, we're hearing the 5th likely one to be revealed is probably going to be California. So in addition to these 7 states, they're saying all U.S.
I would think so. I believe California has one of the biggest, if not the biggest, or one of the biggest. I'm not 100% sure, so go ahead and look that up. Do your own research on this stuff. But they have like one of the biggest power stations in the United States that all like the grids are connected to.
States should be on alert, and now we're receiving the warnings about our U.S. power grid system being targeted as well. Now, this comes as well as we're hearing that this war is likely about to escalate to levels we have not yet seen. Take a look at the latest headlines coming out. U.S. embassies are urging citizens to consider departing the Middle East. Iran's military, meanwhile, has accused Washington of escalating tensions in the region. We're hearing all of the Middle East is issuing out urgent alerts right now, and U.S. and Israel, they are.
So we're going for their power plants, and they're coming for ours. I know you're thinking, what are you talking about, man?
You know, just to put it a little into perspective, if they were able to take down the power grid, yeah, I guess it would just depend on like how long the grid was down. A lot of things in our lives right now revolve around electricity. So average everyday household, let's say power grid goes down, and we're talking like, let's just say 5 months. 5 months. Does anybody or does everybody have like a food supply for 5 months? The average household has about maybe 3 days worth when it comes to like what they have in the pantry, what they have in the refrigerator, because obviously something like that goes down, you can't keep food cool. So first thing you're going to go for is everything that's in the refrigerator. Before it goes bad, everyone wants to eat it, get it out of the way before they move on to the other items. After 3 days, statistically, that's when panic will start to set in. You know, you're going to have families that have kids who aren't prepared for this kind of a situation. So as a father, taking care of your family and your kids are hungry, what do you do next? And that's assuming like FEMA doesn't come out to help or anything like that. I mean, that's when like anarchy starts. That's when people are going to want what you have if you're prepared, and they are not. I mean, if it comes down to your neighbor and your children, which one are you going to pick? So yeah, I mean, the whole situation is very apocalyptic if you think about it. I know this is just talking about like a grid down, like if they attack the electrical system, but if they take down the power structure for like the whole United States and they do it in a more permanent way, I guess, which would be like an EMP pulse, which nobody wants to happen because that affects, when I say everything, I mean everything. Like your car won't work. Nothing will work. Power goes out. Your cars don't work. Everything will go dark. With all the threats going on right now, if the power goes out, there's still going to be water in the pipes. So if the power goes out, I don't think it's overkill, in my opinion. Find the biggest bathtub that you have and turn on the water and save as much as you can. Just fill the tub up. Hopefully you got a way to, filter the water, but if worse comes to worse, we all used to drink from the hose. I don't see a problem with it, so I would drink that water. Get as much water filled up into your house as possible. It might be overkill, it might not be, but statistically saying, if the EMP burst happens, I think cars previous of 1980 will still work. Because everything that we have nowadays with the more modern day cars is all the computer chips in your car, that'll fry. So any car that doesn't have the computer chips, those should be okay, I believe. Like I said, after 3 days, people run out of food. That's when, like I said, the anarchy starts. And there was like an EMP commission saying that, and I don't know if this is true because I don't think anybody really knows, but if we can't get our power grid up, I think it takes about 3 to 4 months before they would say, I think they said about 80% of everybody in the country will die, like run out of food, people hurting each other over items. It'd just be complete chaos. So, I don't know. Me personally, when I see these kinds of articles or see these kinds of threat coming out, I take it very seriously. The unfortunate part is I'm probably not as prepared as everybody else. And instead of like 3 days, I probably got like, I don't know, maybe a week. So I'll have to figure something out too. So it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary when these threats come out. But anyways, let's go ahead and see what these rest of these guys have to say.
All right, here we go. So the little blue country and 47 are talking about massive attack on Iran's power grid, right? Here's the thing. Maybe was it 15, 20 years ago, there was reports on how China, Russia, and Iran, I think it was like 20 years ago, or 15, something like that, that Russia, China, and Iran, because they share technology, can cyber attack our water and power. None of this is new information. Why they don't do it is because if they do it to us, we'll do it to them, and vice versa. And now we in the versa. Now, I know you heard about the water shutdown in Michigan, cyber attack on their water system, but that was just one of 7 states. President's talking about that one. There's 7 more states that got hit by that cyber attack. So if you go after that power, there might be a disruption in your power and your water. Get some jugs, fill up some water. And it's summertime, y'all. So get ready, because it's about to escalate here. Be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, here's another thing to remember. All of our equipment, when it comes to the grid, transformers and all that, that's not manufactured in the United States as far as I know. As far as I know, those come from China. So let's say this scenario does happen. It's going to take months to replace all those transformers, let alone get it here to the United States. Just saying.
Iran is to hit the power grid. Let me help you filter this stuff out. The power grid will be hit. You're not going to know who's doing it. This whole China's doing that, Russia's doing that, Iran did that, Israel did that. Just, it happened, or it's going to happen, or it might drop the who did it. The who done it.
You know, there's a battle that's coming to America that I think people have some idea of, but they don't quite realize the extent of it. And this battle has already begun. This isn't a battle between, Democrats and Republicans. And it's not a battle between AI and human workers. It's going to be a battle over electricity. Specifically, who gets it and who gets pushed aside when there's not enough to go around, because that's what we're facing. On one side, you're going to have the wealthiest corporations in human history racing to build hyperscale artificial intelligence data centers. And on the other side, working people, Americans.
Right. I'll tell you what, I had a CIA agent on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it was interesting. I said to him, what keeps you up at night? What have you learned through your past 20 years that genuinely keeps you up at night where you're like, I wish I never knew that, and I'm paralyzed with fear because of this secret that the American public doesn't know? He was like, there's a couple
That's a great question.
He said, the thing that I can share with you, this isn't the number one thing, but this is up there. He goes, the thing that I can share with you is our power grid. We can be put back to the Stone Age, like pre-colonial times, within 5 minutes. If our enemy gets at our power grid, he said our power grids are the most vulnerable power grids of any first world nation. People were able to hack them in a second, and you would have upwards of 100 million people in this country alone within 6 months.
Yeah, think about that for a second. Let's say they had the ability to take down our power grid, our enemies, right? Or sorry, that would be like the single event that they could do to wipe out Americans, and they wouldn't even have to fire one weapon. Not one. You just got to turn it off and let nature take its course, basically.
He was like, because I'm talking about no power, no water supply, nothing. For 6 months, we would not be able to get it up for at least 6 months. He goes, now we're working retroactively to upgrade these things.
Saying this?
Well, he said, it's pretty public knowledge to the powers that be. But he said that is a thing that absolutely we are in jeopardy of. He was like, it's not no one's going to us. No one's going to invade mainland USA. He goes, even like It might happen again, but it's not gonna debilitate you. He's like, we stop this shit all the time. We're really, weapons and all that. We're so far ahead of every other country. It's not even close.
Someone's going to come flip a light switch and we're fucked.
He said, but that's how they'll get you. There's no reason to have these weapons like this anymore because they can hit our power grid and then we're all and that's what we're vulnerable at, where other countries aren't. He said other countries have taken money and instead of building and tanks, they're upgrading their tech systems that they're impenetrable. So he was like, so that's the thing that keeps me up at night.
Order to the PJM. The largest power grid in the United States is under emergency orders. The Department of Energy has issued an emergency order to the PJM interconnection that gives power to 67 million Americans across 13 different states and Washington, D.C. They are warning that electricity demands might reach an all-time high over these next couple days, which would increase the risk of power outages, blackouts. Their reasoning is pretty interesting, and I'll get to that in a moment. But if you've been paying attention, they have been putting it out there these past couple years that our power grid is weak, that it's susceptible to failing. But for these particular potential blackouts, they're saying that since the heat wave is hitting the eastern part of the United States, and some of these areas will be hitting mid to high 90s as well as maybe low 100s, that they're concerned about people cranking up their air conditioning units to points where the power grid cannot handle that much demand. Now,
It's not even that. It's all the data centers being put up as well. I mean, how much power are they drawing? How much stress is that being put on the grid? And he's absolutely right. People have actually been talking about the power grid being extremely outdated for a long time, but as far as I know, no administration has really done anything like about it. They haven't put a plan into place, and if they have it, they've done like minimal maintenance. That's about it. So, I mean, even actors have been going on podcasts for years now, and they've talked about like the power grid and how that scares them, about how vulnerable it is and what would happen if it went down.
Now, this doesn't mean that blackouts are guaranteed. Hopefully not. But if you're in the eastern part of the U.S., stay safe, stay prepared. I appreciate you.
Oh, eastern side. I thought for sure it'd be California.
While y'all just out there don't even give a damn what's going on around the country, around the world, with the war with Iran and the United States, all these countries, these powerful nations are about to go up against each other, and you guys are just living your life, don't care, ignoring it. Then all of a sudden you out with your friends, your family, you're probably a few hours away from home, then boom, lights go out, communications go down. Everybody cars start working. Everybody start immediately panicking. But it don't just start with all the lights going off.
But that's like, he's talking EMP, not just hacking the grid. Because even if they just hack the grid and shut it down, your cars will work. Your cars will work until you run out of gas or the battery dies, you know. It's the electromagnetic pulse. If they do that, that's what wipes out the... That's what it's going to wipe out all the electricity and all our electrical components and all that. So I'm just specifying here.
Right away. It starts when everybody realizes that their cars don't work. Your electric car and your gas car, yeah, all that will not work. Your phone will say no signal on it. That is when everything starts to sink in. To sit in. There's no panic right now, but some people will start panicking. Then more, then more, then more. When people realize that the lights ain't coming back on and it's dark as balls outside, dark as hell, you can't even see in front of you, 2 feet in front of you. Now you're just panicking. Now everybody's running to the grocery store, looting, crime rate going up, killing going up. Everything going up. Complete panic. But these are only for the people that will panic, that are not prepared. The people that are prepared, like me and other large groups of people are prepared. We like say we knew this shit was coming. We try to fucking warn you guys, but you just say, brush it off like, ain't nothing.
Is that tripping anyone else out? You guys see his background just shaking and moving around?
Then boom, lights go out. Everything is out. Now, everybody's worst nightmare has became true. No lights, no communications. You can't keep your food good. You cannot keep your food cold. All your food in your refrigerator going spoiled. If you ain't got a generator. Most of y'all don't got generators. Most of you guys got generators, but most of you guys got the wrong generators. Yes, I say wrong generators. Most of y'all households got generators that run on gas, that is loud as hell, to the point where somebody outside can hear that shit. Red flag right then and there. If you got a generator that is super loud and it runs on gas, you are in a world of hurt on a whole nother unthinkable level, because what's going to happen is once everybody in your neighborhood runs out of food, water, and they can hear your generator outside, because it will be quiet as fuck outside. They will hear that shit from like a whole block away. And they realize that you got power, you're keeping your food cold, your microwave working, a nice hot meal working, your heat working, your air conditioner's working pretty well with the generator. Oh yeah, they coming straight for your shit.
They're literally throwing it in our faces now, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. Just watch this shit.
Here's an interesting statistic for you. If the U.S. faced a catastrophic power grid failure, as in the whole grid went out throughout the entire country, 90% of the U.S. population would be dead. That's from the EMP Commission. Now you might be wondering, how close are we to a scenario where all of the power grid goes out? Well, unfortunately, we're a lot closer than most people think.
The same way Joe Rogan predicted the virus months before it actually happened, this ex-Navy SEAL is trying to warn us about the next potential greatest natural disaster that the U.S. has ever seen. Just watch this shit.
And what does it look like if our power grid goes down?
So it really becomes almost zombie apocalypse, and it's horrific. You can't count on the police or the National Guard. They'll be at home protecting their own family.
I don't think people realize how much chaos and how miserable it will become when the power grid goes down.
Back to the previous one about the generator. I think the guy is referring to an inverter. You need an inverter generator. It's a lot more quieter than the gas powered. Another thing he said, like, your neighbors will come for your stuff. So maybe it might be a good idea to, talk to your neighbors, at least the neighbors that, you guys all get along. Maybe they're like-minded, and have everyone come together if a grid down scenario happens and it lasts longer than 3 days. Because then you might want to start talking to each other, work together. Maybe you guys can protect what you got. Just saying, if that situation ever happens. Don't know. I mean, this is all apocalyptic. But it doesn't hurt to be semi-prepared, I guess. As for like communications, yeah, that'll go down. I keep hearing about like protective bags. I think they're called Faraday bags. But like, how do you charge your phone when it's in a bag? But I don't know. I don't even know if that would make a difference if you protected your phone and the grid goes down. You just have a source of music, I guess, because that's important to me. If the grid goes down, and like I want at least my playlist, might as well have a grid down playlist or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. With like zero music in the world, it'd drive me insane. I don't know if I could handle it. But yeah, and what was that previous clip? Sean Ryan. It's a scary situation if it gets that far. I don't think everyone actually really understands it. I don't think any of us will really understand unless it happens. like, I don't wish for anything like this to happen, but if it does, and this is just my opinion, sooner rather than later is better for me. I don't want my kids to have to deal with whatever's going on in the world right now. Like, if I can find a way to protect them and keep them going and keep them in a safer environment, build a community with like-minded individuals, and we have like some sort of fortification and stuff like that, at least until the power comes back on. But I'd rather they do something like this in my prime. I'm not even in my prime. I don't even know why I even said that. But before, like, I'm too old to give a fuck, I guess. I don't know. While I have the ability to move and actively take care of my family, I'd rather it happen now. That's all I'm saying. I don't want it to happen at all. But if it does, prefer now rather than when I'm in a wheelchair or a walker.
You see this video, man, I need you to comment down below. What would you do if the power grid goes down? And after you comment, I need you to share so this can hit the algorithm, so anybody that don't know what's going on in this world can see this too.
Well, let's see. It really just depends if I'm at work when it happens or if I'm at home when it happens. After like all this stuff that I hear that talk to the family, and if the power went out, they're going to fill up the bathtubs because you're going to need water, and I'm talking every single one of them, all the sinks, and fill up any available jugs that we have because, you know, you cannot survive without water. And then it just depends on where I'm at, I guess, because if I'm at work, and whether it just depends if it's going to be an EMP or if it's just a grid down. Now, I'm about a 35-minute drive away from home, assuming it happens as soon as I arrive to work. Because after I arrive at work, then I go even further away. It would really just depend on where I'm at, obviously. So, get home, I guess, would be the first thing that I do. It's going to take a couple hours of walking, but it's about all you can do. So, I would just try to make it home, and then the family will just be trying to collect as much water as possible. That's about it. That would be the first things that we do.
So they can know what to do when the power grid goes down. We need to help each other, man. That's what it's all about. So in the days to come, around the end of October, the beginning of November, we can experience this solar flare that's coming. And it's going to be days of darkness. That means no electricity, no gas, no power, no nothing. So that comes back to my question. What is the first thing that you going to do?
Okay, I got to check the date of this thing. I'm assuming this is from last year. Yeah, it looks like November 4th of last year. They were talking about like a possibility of a Carrington event, I believe it's what it's called, where solar flare, if it touches the Earth, I guess, it'll wipe out all the power. I guess it happened before, like way back in the day. Honestly, I can't remember. But it was back when they had like I think it was back when they just had, what was that called? You know, the whole Morse code thing, those lines. And it like wiped out every station. So it's a possibility that one, you can get a cyberattack grid down. You can get a EMP, which could be either a manufactured one or it could be an electromagnetic pulse caused by a nuclear weapon launched above the United States. I forgot how high and how wide it'll sweep across the United States. And then you have natural disaster events like the Carrington event. So I think that's what this guy is referring to when he's talking about the solar flares.
And I need y'all to comment that down below right now.
Major breaking news this evening. NOAA has confirmed that the United States is experiencing a level 5 out of 5 geomagnetic storm right now. The weather agency labeled this a, quote, extreme storm, the first of its kind since October 2003. Previously, the agency predicted a storm at level 4 out of 5. Now it has upgraded it to 5 out of 5. And the storm reached these conditions at around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, as I said before, the impacts of the storm could be anything from impacting GPS to radio to other high frequencies, really across the country. And people as far south as Alabama this evening could potentially see the Aurora Borealis. And probably one of the biggest potential impacts is the possibility of a power grid failure in various areas. Throughout history, we have seen power grid failures in Canada and elsewhere during these geomagnetic storms, and the Earth is experiencing the strongest possible geomagnetic storm right now. As always, I'm going to provide you updates throughout the night as we learn more, so be sure to stay tuned to be the first to know all the news you need to know.
The United States power grid is getting hit with more cyber attacks than before, and you need to know this. This one matters because nobody is warning you the way that they should be. While everybody arguing about celebrities and elections, I bet you didn't know that our grid is older than most Americans alive today. Some of these parts of this power grid were built in the 1950s. A few outages already happened this week that officials are calling minor, but let me tell you, they not. Foreign hacking groups are testing our weaknesses. Not to cause chaos right now, but to see how they can cause chaos for us in the future. And the reason nobody is talking about this on your TV? Because they know if Americans understood how fragile this grid actually is, every single politician in office will look irresponsible. They do not want you to be aware. They want you to be quiet about this. So make sure y'all got generators and backup batteries just in case. Feel free to comment below and let me know what y'all think about what's going on in our country right now.
This event will be planned. Is planned. It's already planned. This event is planned. By who? By the people that are pulling the strings on this entire fucking planet. The people that you are hearing about in the media today. The people above the government, the certain families and companies that own every single thing. Those people who dictate how we live on this earth. So they have planned this event, and the reason they have planned this is because look what's happening in the world, guys. They're losing control. The systems are cracking. Exposure is happening. Disclosure is happening. The dark and negative energies are being exposed. The truths are coming out. It's like the systems are dwindling. And right now, those dark and negative forces, they're at the last kick of the cat and they know it. And they are going to fight and fight and fight to hang on to control over the masses. They are going to do everything they fucking can to maintain control, to maintain their wealth, to maintain the lifestyles and the sick fucking things they're doing. And, maintain control of this earth. They're going to do everything they can. But the thing is this is it. They're flailing. They know it's falling apart. So their last attempt to regain control is going to start with a blackout. Now, why a blackout? What's this going to do? Well, think about it. First couple of days, most people, majority is just going to think, hey, power's out. Deal with it. Move on. People can last 2 days, right, without food and water. You get to around day 3 or day 4, a lot of people who are not prepared are going to start running out of food and water and supplies. And, everyone's going to start questioning, like, when's the power going back on? What the fuck's going on, right? A little panic's going to start to set in.
Not only that, I guarantee when the panic does set in, there's going to be a lot of looting. Like a lot of looting. People are just going to go to the grocery stores, break in, and just start taking stuff. So if you have a grocery store nearby, watch out for that. Not saying to go do that. Obviously, don't do that. But when it comes down to taking care of your family, people are going to do some crazy things. So
then it's going to snowball. Now people are going to run out of food and water. They're going to be desperate for supplies. People who have supplies are going to be defending their supplies. Everybody is going to be in fear is going to be in question of, they're going to be in the unknown. Nobody's going to know what the fuck is going on. And this will create panic. This will create chaos. People will have to steal. People will have to loot to get supplies. It's going to become chaotic. People are going to be divided. And that is the end state they are going for. That is what they want. They want everybody in fear of the unknown. They want everybody divided. They want everybody out for themselves. They want everybody panicked. That's what they want. That's the goal of this blackout. That's the goal. That's the end state. That's what they want. And I'm going to explain why. Little sippy of ginger ale. Okay, so that is the end state. That is the goal. It's going to be planned. It's coming. Get ready. The key is to this blackout, don't panic. And I'm going to explain at the end. But get your supplies. Okay, so then you've got everybody in a state of chaos. The world's in a state of chaos. So now what's going to happen? Now comes a fake alien invasion. Why? You've got everybody in a state of chaos, divided, in fear, in panic. You bring a fake alien invasion in, portraying the aliens to come get everybody on Earth. They're coming to kill everybody on Earth. The aliens are bad. They're coming to get everybody. But then, those people who are running the world, who planned it, are going to turn around and say, no, wait, everybody. We gotcha. We will save you from the aliens. And then, at that moment, they regain control of the masses.
Okay, so that was like a mixture of things on that last video. I believe she was referring to Project Bluebeam. Now, the idea behind Project Bluebeam is almost exactly how she explained it. It's a scenario where they create or, they do an alien invasion, like the government does. And then they come in, they defeat the aliens, and then it just builds up our, we'll start believing in the system again. It's a way to win over the masses. I find that hard to believe. But then again, you know what? I didn't think they would release any kind of documentation of UFOs, which they have done. Maybe it's a build-up for that. I don't know. So there's a lot going on in the world right now that has me thinking... I don't want to say I'm panicking, but it makes my mind go wild. And that's probably because of my unhealthy obsession with conspiracy theories. There's just a lot of weird things going on, especially right now with the whole United States and Iran thing. You had a leak come out, and Trump has come out and said, no, that's absolutely false, and he's going to find out who leaked that information. But I think it was ran by like the New York Post or the Washington Post or something like that, that apparently we're almost out of munitions. Now, why they would run a story like that and letting the whole world know that, hey, we're running low on munitions, you should be arrested for that. You can't be telling the whole world that, like, we're almost out of, like, weapons. Allegedly, if that's true, because he's already come out and said that it's completely false, but he also said we had a lot of treaty talks and that weren't true either. So I don't know. And that's the problem. The problem is we don't trust. The trust in the government is the lowest it's ever been in history. And so it's kind of hard to believe what they say and what's going on in the world, because one day you will wake up and maybe the power is out. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What do you do from now? I'm creating this video. I went grocery shopping this morning, and I was going to do the grocery shopping, come back home and do this. And while I was there, I was like, well, let me go look at the emergency supplies. The shelves were empty when it comes to the food, like the 72-hour kits, stuff like that. They were all gone. So other people are thinking something like this might happen. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. What are you guys thinking? If a grid down does happen, like the previous gentleman said, what is the first thing you're going to do? Are you prepared for this? Can you survive? Can you protect your family? Where would you go? I believe you have up to 72 hours, they say, if you're going to move from one place to the other before it'll be damn near impossible for you to get there. Roads will be all backed up. People will be on the streets. People are going to be trying to take what you got. All that stuff. Do you think that it is possible for them to shut down our grid? I don't know. I'd like to know all of it. All the comments, anything you guys got in your heads, let me know. And yeah, that's all I got. So go ahead, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that fun shit, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.